from a Fiji perspective defensively, as well as going through the phases of possession. Just their ill discipline a little bit. The way they reset their defensive line has allowed South Africa just to move up a pace in this game. This is Fury, this is the high tackle. In comes the loose arm. Koto. In actual fact, it was Deacon Manu, wasn't it? Just a little bit negligent there, catching his man over the top of the shoulder and around the neck.
So here he is, Mornay Steyn. 50% tonight so far. And he's pushed that one a little wide as well. So he's down to 40%. Very un-Mornay Steyn.
Well, I feel some of Fiji's kicking has also been a bit loose as well, and Luvinyali, he always kicks long from the 22s, but he's always kicked down towards Mornay Steyn. Now, there's an opportunity perhaps for Fiji to try and get their forwards under it. They've got to compete with a loose ball. They've got to shake up this game. Well, at least he's gone down the other side. Debria has this one covered.
And there he is. Yes, please. Look at it. That tackle a little bit high that time from Lewarabu. Referee playing advantage again. Steyn to Lambie. 3. There goes JP Peterson. Frans Steyn plays scrum half. Guthrie Steenkamp plays battering ram. Skalkberger that time. Good continuity this from the Springboks. Maybe just dwelling a little too long, but they've recovered here. There's Rousseau. Tackle from Koto. Steenkamp here, anxious to seal his place. A lot of competition for the one jersey in the South African team. They're inside the Fiji 22. Duprea, Berger, Buerta. Pakis Buerta playing against a future colleague tonight. Gabi Lovombalavu is one of the stars at Toulon in the south of France. That's where Bakis Buerta is going. They've turned it at Fiji. He's Luvinyali. And he's found some space. Kori is scampering back. He's got Undungani to his right. There he is. He's got JP Peterson for help. Peterson staying on his feet and doing very well, the wing. Mornay Steyn changing direction. Montadigo is waiting underneath it. And Fari dumping him into touch. Well, you have to say it has been 39 minutes and a few seconds that has almost entirely belonged to the Springboks.
Yeah, very much so. A very solid opening half here for South Africa. They've been very clever the way they've used the ball. They've manipulated the space. They pulled Fiji out. But what I've been impressed with is the carrying of Guthrie Steenkamp, du Plessis as well. Bakis Buerta, Rousseau, they've got the big ball carriers involved with Skalkberger as well. When they've set up those runners, it allows the backs the space to run, and they've moved the ball well.
Well, we saw 4 years ago in Marseille in that quarter-final that Fiji had the capacity and the spirit to bounce back. So the match a long way from over yet. But there will be a lot to discuss at half-time for the fellas back in the studio. But certainly, South Africa looking rather more like world champions than they maybe did a week ago.
Yeah, also when Fiji have actually moved the ball and gone through their phases of possession, certainly South Africa have looked comfortable in the defensive alignment. They've made their tackles, they've closed down some of the Fijian space, and they've made it uncomfortable for Fiji at times.
Clear to Steyn. France Day. Drea getting wrapped up. This will be the last phase of play in the first half. The old captain gets up and trundles on. There's Skultberger.
And this is what I'm saying about the big ball carriers taking that forward, allows the backs to attack.
That was Dani Rousseau. There's Rousseau. Skultberger, former World Player of the Year there. Good to see him back playing Test rugby after almost a year out. He missed the Tri-Nations with that dislocated thumb, and it's a penalty to the Springboks.
13.
And it's got to be go for the 3 points, isn't it?
Offside and come to the side. Shot.
Well, I didn't really have to answer your question, Martin, but again, solid by South Africa, wasn't it?
13 offside.
They are physical.
Came from the side.
And at times, Fiji haven't been able to flood the contact area. Here they did, but they then went into an offside position.
Well, the kicking percentage is back to 50% for Morné Steyn on the night. Well, on the waterfront, they are showing that perhaps they can be contenders, South Africa. They lead Fiji after 40 minutes by 21 points to 3.
Lifting the trophy is some way off, but certainly the prospects are looking slightly better for South Africa, who lead Fiji 21-3 in Wellington after an impressive first half. Second half coming up. You picked out France Steyn as having an outstanding contribution in that first 40 minutes. His first contribution was a huge one.
Massive penalty. That's what I used to do when I played rugby. Not, Michael, this is more your game.
I was a bit surprised with the decision to go for that penalty, but what a kick. I mean, he had time, he had a lot to spare here, and it's just a great kick, and that's what he's renowned for doing those sort of things, you know, from a long way out, but it's his general play that's been very good. This is a lovely pass into space, right around the Fijians to Lambie, who's running some nice lines as well.
And when the pass is in front of the player, it gives the player time to run onto the ball, and it makes the ball quick ball. So he's really impressed me in the first half. Again, strong, very comfortable with the ball in both hands, and he gets over the advantage line. There he's running against one of the Fijian locks, and he still delivers a quality
This is
ball.
the bad bit about his game, though. I mean, just he once again renowned for these long drop goals that really a bit of waste of possession.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
Despite that miss, it all adds up to 21-3 for South Africa into the second half in Wellington, where we're back with Scott Hastings and Martin Gillingham.
Okay, kick a bit wide.
Well, Bucky's Botha has gone off after 40 minutes, so South Africa making their first change. And it's Livinyali who gets us back underway. Lambie with a long clearance kick. Muri Valu. There you can see the change. Willem Alberts, the Shark, is the replacement in the second row, and he's straight into the action there. Well, it's certainly been a good first 40 for Peter de Villiers. We can debate, I suppose, day and night just how much contribution some coaches have to team successes, but he's got a cracking CV. He's won a Tri-Nations. And he has got some marvellous wins against the All Blacks in New Zealand. Oh, good hands there from Berg. He did rather well, didn't he? He was almost back on his heels. Peter de Villiers will have been happy with that first 40. There's Brousseau, Ndungani, Peterson. Lavon Barlavou with the tackle. Here's Jacques Ferry. He's already got one try tonight. Now he needs support. First man on the scene was Dani Rousseau, but it's been turned over by the Fijians.
Well, there's physical in there. Fiji have actually got men over if they come to the right of your picture here. But they couldn't get the ball back quick enough.
Hands on the ground.
Jacques Ferry, though, with the incisive break. Felt there could have been a pop pass right over the top of the Fijian defence to release Pierre Spies out wide.
Time off.
But
Injury
Skoltberger,
right. Time off.
well, he was questioning Romain Poix. It wasn't me, ref. And there's Jacques Ferry. He's a big centre, that man.
Well, it's Wami Leeuwaravu, the Sale Shark, who's down and needs a bit of treatment. But there is John Smith, who's been in the firing line a fair amount in recent weeks,
Can I get, please?
particularly in the run-up to this contest.
Once again, Peterson unleashes Ferry. Now, Ferry, there was a pass right over the top of the defence there. There, on the left of your picture, was Pierre Spies. But this is where the contact area went. Through came Skoltberger. You could see him playing the ball on the ground. And Romain Poix straight in there against the big blonde-haired flanker.
Sometimes, Scott, we marvel, don't we, at the physiques, particularly of some of the Pacific Island players. But have you ever seen an all-round athlete like the South African number 8, Pierre Spies?
He came out yesterday, didn't he? And here at the training ground in Wellington, it was mid-afternoon. Oh, sorry, it was mid-morning in actual fact. Sun was down. He was absolutely ripped. And the way he was throwing the ball around, the way he was sprinting after the ball, it was a real sight. And it's great to see him back in, not only playing in a World Cup, but back in a South African jersey.
Well, we used to think that Bob Skinstad was a bit special. Then we got Joe van Niekerk with an 8 on his back. And I remember Skinstad saying to me once, look out for this fella van Niekerk when he plays, and he was incredibly quick, perhaps not necessarily as good a hands as Skinstad, but now we've got Pierre Spies, who is just about the complete package, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm just looking down the commentary box here, and we do have Bobby Skinstad just 2 down from us. Wonderful player. Applied his trade in Stellenbosch before he embarked upon this wonderful international career of his. But South Africa can churn out some great 8s, can't they?
Just going in the wing, wants to get the ball tucked underneath his arm. He's been a little bit frustrated tonight. Used to having played so much rugby in France at Clermont, where they used to use him all the time. Top try scorer in France for 2 straight seasons. There's Levignali, Lambie, Ndungani. Ndungani, another player who's placed in the team under a lot of scrutiny. Francois Hougaard made a real impact against Wales last week. There's Frans Steyn. Combining there with Jacques Ferry. There's Rousseau. Just dummy in the direction of Mornay Steyn. Oh, and that time it's the captain knocking it on. You can almost hear the U's and the R's in the background, and people whispering, Bismarck Duplessis, when are we going to see him?
Well, maybe that error by John Smith may see the change being made earlier rather than later. But again, I'm just impressed with the physicality of the South Africans. They've really matched up against the Fijians. And the Mexican wave just goes by us and it'll hit the other side. But Fiji, if they're going to find a way back into this game, they're going to have to attack from deep. They're going to have to raise the game. They're going to have to find some inspirations. Who is going to stand up for Fiji and light the spark?
Levignali with a cross kick. Well covered there by Lambie, who just kept his toes in. Terrific offload there to Ndungani, but the official on the far side, you can see George Clancy, who refereed the opening game. Which is only, 8 days ago? We've been a long way, haven't we, since then? George Clancy obviously deciding there that Mr. Lambie had his tippy toes on the white line.
Can we get a smile on these Fijian faces? I thought the positioning by Lambie was very good, covered the ball well, just momentum took him over the line.
It was just his right foot, wasn't it? Matadigo straight in there was